Hey everybody, Thomas Vanderkin back again on the Vanderkin verse. I'm so excited. I've got Lauren Price with me today. She's in the sales team at DXC supporting the telco, media, and tech industries.
That's correct. It's great to meet everyone. I'm so excited to be here, Thomas. Thanks for having me.
I know, Lauren, this is great. So we've been working together for a while. Got to go on some sales calls together, even met some customers at CES. So here we are now back, and we get to do a virtual discussion here on Zoom or Teams today, I guess. So let's go ahead and just kick it off. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Lauren.
Okay, sure. Lauren Price. I've been an employee at DXC for about 2 years. I'm on the sales team. As Thomas said, I work with our telecom accounts first and foremost, and I also work with our high-tech industry as well as entertainment. So I've been working with people talking about 5G for a couple of years, and it's so exciting what we're going to be able to do. So excited to be here.
So for those of you who don't know, DXC was a longtime customer of mine. I was excited to work with them. Their history is very long. For those of you who've been around for a while, you may remember EDS and Ross Perot. So back in the day, he started a large company down there in Plano, Texas. It grew, became really active in all sorts of industries, especially the travel transportation industry with Ross Perot's background. But then after a while, it became part of HP Enterprise Services. And then a few years ago, that actually spun off, merged with CSC, and became this new company, DXC, with 150,000 employees all around the world, one of the leaders in the solution integrator space. So it's been a privilege for me personally to work with DXC for a long time. And now Lauren is here picking up the mantle and working for DXC, and I think they moved their office. They're not in Plano anymore. Is that right?
That's correct. We moved our headquarters over to Richardson, Texas, a little while. Actually, it's been about a year ago this summer. So our main headquarters is still in Tysons, Virginia, but we've got a pretty big presence here in Richardson. So it's exciting. Of course, none of us are in the office right now, but.
Right. Yeah. So you're in sales in the telco media tech space. I'm sure you're the perfect person to ask. So what's cool about 5G, Lauren?
Well, so the coolest thing about 5G is the speed and latency improvements that we're seeing. What we'll be able to do in real time is extraordinary. And more importantly, the insights we can derive from the data is to improve safety, efficiency, and reduce costs for our customers is just awesome. So there's several things that come to mind when I think about the real life applications of 5G. There's dozens of use cases around smart connectivity across industries, including healthcare, entertainment, and manufacturing, security and safety, robotics and automation, extended reality, and automated vehicles, of course, everything from autonomous driving to factory vehicles moving inventory from point A to point B. So given our time today, I'd like to dive into just a few of these examples, but it's really exciting, everything that we'll be able to do.
I think that's perfect, because a lot of us are hearing about 5G. Whenever I watch Hulu, I see the telcos all have 5G ads, and they all say they're the best, whatever color their commercials happen to be. But it's hard to get concrete examples of how it's actually being implemented. So maybe if you have some samples or a use case would be awesome.
Yeah. Of course. And a lot of what we're working with is large enterprises and the things that companies are going to be able to do with 5G to improve efficiency and reduce costs and that kind of stuff. So one of them, there's a huge push for Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing. 5G is going to enable a much higher density of connected devices. So that in turn is going to give us massive amounts of data we can use to improve efficiencies. Beyond just tracking traffic patterns of employees, we'll have all of these additional connected sensors, and we can detect environmental changes that may be unsafe for employees. So for example, a change in air quality can trigger a sensor to send a notification to an employee that might be in an unsafe area, and they can leave and get to a safer spot. So that's one example in manufacturing. Another thing, we'll be able to place a higher emphasis on remote controlled machines. So take mines, for example. There's a number of scenarios where it's too unsafe, or a person can't even possibly get to that spot. With 5G, humans can steer drones and cranes and other equipment and do that work for them. So it's very cool.
Really? So you said in mines, so is that not underground though, right? So you mean like open mines? Like
yeah, and well, underground open mines, one of the cool things about 5G is being able to penetrate barriers than able to with Wi-Fi, just doesn't cut it, and other things. So yeah, it's very cool, the things that we'll be able to access that we haven't been able to before.
Yeah, I've done a couple interviews with the T-Mobile guy. He was mentioning there's different types of spectrum, whether it's sub-6, which is good at long distance, or mid-tier, or millimeter wave, which is great for fast speeds in the city. So I guess depending on the application, you use different types of 5G waves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I'll go into another example. Another industry that we're going to see major changes from 5G is healthcare. So we'll see improvements in telemedicine, physical therapy. With augmented reality, people can do physical therapy at home, and precision and even remote surgery. So the there's a couple of high-def video streaming examples that are going to be really cool with 5G. One of them being ambulances communicating with hospitals, allowing doctors to prepare for a patient's arrival. And then think about the societal benefit of being able to perform surgeries in developing countries. High definition videos are going to allow doctors without specialty expertise to do this, because they'll be able to communicate with people that can share exactly what they need to be doing. And so healthcare is going to be.
I heard an example in the COVID world where they're setting up tents to do COVID testing. And of course, they don't have Wi-Fi out at the tent, so they had to use a 5G connection to get the type of speeds they needed, at these tents.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And beyond 5G, I mean, 5G is right around the corner, and we can do a lot of cool things with it now. But there's also private wireless networks that exist today that we can do a lot of these things with, and 5G is just going to make it that much better. So very cool.
Yeah, very. Speaking of the at-home visits, I was talking to some friends, and they said one thing that they want to change forever going forward is using these virtual appointments with your doctor. So you have a lot less doctor visits. Just do it from home. It takes 10 minutes instead of a half a day to get a doctor's appointment done. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. And I mean, even teledoc today, it's just so easy to use something like that. So.
Right.
Definitely.
And do we really want doctors going patient to patient to patient in a hospital, right? And doing their rounding? That can be, in an infectious situation, they could either get a disease or spread a disease doing all that room hopping around. So telepresence or tele-rounding, virtual rounding could be really critical too.
Yeah, exactly. And even kind of expanding on that, I watched a video yesterday when I was thinking about different healthcare use cases, and pharmacists they're having to go from point A to point B to move medications for people when an automated vehicle could do that for them, and they're able to spend more time with patients. Things like that. I mean, things that you would never think of. Just improving efficiency. It puts more focus on the people instead of having to do monotonous tasks that we can have automated vehicles doing, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's autonomous driving and healthcare merged.
Yeah. People always think autonomous driving, and I mean, there's people driving cars on the roads, but there's also in manufacturing facilities and factory environments, those kind of automated vehicles. It's very interesting.
So you mentioned an example in the healthcare space, an example in manufacturing and mining. Do you have any other examples?
I do. I have one more. So last but not least, and this may even be put to the forefront with COVID and everything, immersive experiences. So with extended reality, anyone can experience live events in a 360-degree streaming as if you were there in real time. So imagine sitting courtside watching Luka drain threes from your couch. It's a game changer, pun intended. So it's very cool, and I will say that's something that my husband is most excited about coming, and so it's very cool.
I'm not sure what a Luca is, but I'm sure it sounds exciting.
On the Maverick. He's
Oh.
one of the most exciting players to watch right now. Well, I say right now, hopefully we get our sports back soon.
Okay, on the map. So basketball player.
Yes.
If you could have used a soccer example, I may have tracked with you, but you lost me.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So you soccer, and I should have known that too.
Yeah, I saw on one of your posts on LinkedIn that you had a link to Juventus playing AC Milan with a big DXC advertisements in the background, which is very cool. Other than the fact that Lenovo sponsors Inter Milan, which is the big rival to AC Milan.
Yes, well, yeah.
So anything else cool you're working on outside of the 5G world, or anything going on with DXC, or what kind of other projects you have?
So you and I were talking, and you mentioned fever screening, and I think that is a really cool thing that's happening right now with everyone returning to work. And we partner with several companies, but one of them in particular that I've been engaged with is Nokia, and they are using their private wireless network to connect these cameras, these thermal cameras, to gauge people's temperatures as they're walking into their place of work. So a lot of the push right now is with manufacturing facilities when they've got this huge influx of people coming in at 8 a.m. every day, and they can gauge, if they have a high temperature, and they can integrate it with their existing security system. So another cool thing is being able to check if they're wearing the right protective equipment in a manufacturing facility. So you can do all of these things, and it's one of the cool things with Nokia is it's on their private wireless network, so you're not going to have any interruptions with bandwidth issues or too many devices connected, because it's dedicated to that system. So that's one of the cool things that we're working on, and DXC has a couple different fever screening solutions out there on the market, and yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. I hadn't really considered that, but now that you mention all those type of screening activities, whether they have the right masks on, whether they have a temperature, whether they're in it's too close together. Manufacturing obviously has never shut down through all of COVID. So maybe as other industries go back, whether it's schools or the offices start to open up, I guess they could learn a lot from the manufacturing industries that have stayed open this whole time, and best practices from them.
Yeah, exactly. And we've been working on this for the last several months. And so we've learned a lot over the last several months that we can make recommendations on. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're all trying to be as safe as we possibly can, and make sure that everyone else is safe when we're back in a normal state. And, the U.S. has been opening up for quite some time, and we need to just make sure that everyone is safe while we do it. So.
Well, Lauren, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed having you on, and I think if anybody wants to reach out to you, I guess they can find you on LinkedIn and connect that way, or find you at DXC.
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Of course.
Great. Well, thank you for joining. It's been a great interview, and we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Of course. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate your time today.